Hello, 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 everybody! Welcome to Sexy Selling 2023. This is Module 2. Welcome. Please go ahead and drop me a comment. Even if you're on replay, go ahead and put replay in the comments for me. If you're watching live, tell me hello. Welcome. And do me a huge favor. I am a generator in human design, which means that I am made to respond. And so we get to have a way expanded conversation if y'all are in the comments for me and I'm able to respond to stuff in real time. That's freaking amazing. It's my jam. I absolutely love it. And like I said, you get more value. Not that this isn't going to be valuable in and of itself, but you get even more value. It gets to be even richer. We get to deepen the context even more when you're in the comments with me. So please do that for me. And if you are on replay, by all means, comment as if you are live, because I come back through and I read comments, and if a response is appropriate, I will absolutely respond to you in the comments. So tell me how you are. Tell me how you're feeling. I want to get you pulled up on my phone here so that I can see comments in the event they're not working on this device, because that happens sometimes. I see Ashley's watching live. Hello, babe. Oh, so good. So, if you did not know, there is a drawing happening with this content. So, there is an I'm in graphic in Guide 8 of this group. Go ahead and download that I'm in graphic and share it in your Instagram stories, share it in your Facebook stories, and tag me so that I know you shared it, and I will get your name entered into our drawing that's happening this week during this course. So I want to give away money. Like, who says that, right? It's so fun though. I absolutely love giving away coaching dollars, giving away time. Sometimes I give away like a 30-minute or a 20-minute one-on-one call, and you would be amazed at how much we can get accomplished in a short amount of time. It's so cool. It's awesome. So let's see here. Oh yes, and the replays are going up on YouTube. So after I get done, I go ahead and download it, and then I get it loaded up onto YouTube so that if for whatever reason you can't make it live and you want to catch the replay on YouTube, you absolutely can do that, because I personally have come to love being able to do replays on YouTube, because I can 1.5 speed it, or I can 2x it if it's appropriate. And I love it. It does stuff for me. So I am doing that for you all with these free masterclasses also, so that you have that option, because it's amazing. And if you're attracted to me, you probably listen like I do on 1.5 speed. And tomorrow evening, I'm meeting with some of the other homeschool moms that do our group together, and we're going through some videos on a writing course. Kind of dreading the videos a little bit, because there's not going to be a 1.5 option, and even if there was, it's not me. I'm not the only one receiving the content. I'm afraid I'm going to fall asleep. We'll see. Your girl's brain has got to be turned on, so I may have to bring like a game or something to just keep myself engaged, which that sounds so counterintuitive, but that's my version of neurodivergence. So there's that. Okay. Replays are also in the guide section. It's in Guide 8 here inside the FemPower group, just so you know. Thoughts on yesterday? Who has watched the replay from yesterday? Who caught it live? Any thoughts on the silent depression that you did not get to share on yesterday's video? Just curious if those numbers had landed for you, if it's like, oh wow, like where's your thought process? Or maybe you're not feeling it at all, and that's a wonderful thing too. Okay, so I'm curious also if you discussed it with anyone else. Did you talk to your partner about it? Did you talk to your, bestie, mom, something like that about it? I was curious if that information went farther than just our group here. So I am a hope dealer, though. And so while that can get you into that fear complex, we're not dealing in fear. Like I said, I don't take you places like that without being able to give you a giant life raft and say, nope, don't worry about it. And that's what we did yesterday and what we're going to continue to do throughout the entire week this week. So the fact is that there's an entirely different economy today than there was in the 1930s. Entirely different economy. And that doesn't mean that, well, what do you mean by that, Sarah? Because these numbers don't add up. Yeah, it's entirely different. It's worse. No, it's an entirely different economy in how people buy and sell goods today. 1930s, you had to be where the industry was, and there had to be a demand for the industry. Today, we have the internet. We have worldwide shipping. Like, it's such a different economy than it was in the 30s. And so you just have to really tuck that in the back of your mind of like, well, while the numbers are different, it's a very different economy than it was in the 30s because of the internet. It's honestly even a different economy than it was in 2008 with the recession, 2009 with the recession. And so I just really want you to keep that tucked in the back of your mind. Ashley says, when we talked about it last month on the VIP day, it shook me up, but I'm so grateful you told us so we can see the importance of building multiple streams of income. Yes. Bingo. Bingo, babe. Okay. So the reason that the recession hasn't been as big or hasn't felt like it's been as big as it was in 08 and 09 is because of the internet. And while we had the internet in 2008 and 2009, there were way fewer individuals with personal brands on the internet in 2008 and 2009 than there are now. They're just so much more prolific now than they were then. Uh-oh, my papers didn't double side. Oh well. So, the online space creates its own economy. Believe it or not. It's almost like we're operating in a world where there's two different economies. There's the local brick and mortar one, and they're probably feeling recession pieces worse than the internet one. And then there's the internet economy. There's like two different ones, but we also live in this world where there's a melding of the two of them together. And this is why, like Ashley said, having multiple streams of income is so important, but even diversifying the economies that you're working with is so important. Diversify and, pour into the local brick and mortar economy because that's where you live and you want to be able to continue to do so. So I buy my eggs and my milk locally, not from a big box store as often as possible. My meat, I would buy locally, but we raise it, so, And I'm also diversifying my outgo, my expenses, my luxury pieces too. I'm putting into the internet economy also. So I'm doing my best to diversify, yes, my income and diversify my outgoing also. And I know that especially in 2020, we had a lot of voices in our heads saying, keep it local, keep it local, keep it local. And that's super important. And it's also super important that we don't forget about the economy that we've consistently been promoting is not the right word. Encouraging, promoting, pouring into on the internet. So diversify your outflow and diversify your income. It's big in both ways. Let's see here. But when you have that personal brand in the online space, you have a whole other world at your fingertips as potential, and I do mean whole other world. You have the entire world at your fingertips as potential clients, potential customers, potential consumers versus the brick and mortar, the infrastructure that had to be in place locally. When you have that personal brand, you get to have literally anybody in the world could buy from you if they so chose, if they so desired to. And so it makes the buoyancy of your life raft, it turns it into a bigger ship by a long stretch if you have that personal brand that you're building in the online space. I hope this is landing for you. So it's entirely different than 1930, where you needed to live where the industry was, and those industries needed to be in demand. If nobody needed cotton to make clothes, didn't matter if you had a whole field of cotton. Nobody was going to buy it locally. Totally different in the online space. So again, I encourage you to step out of the frequency of fear and into possibility. Like, what could happen? Just the what if. Your brain, when you go to make I am statements, and we're not talking I am statements today, but when you go to make I am statements and you're like, I am a billionaire, your brain goes, liar. Unless you actually are a billionaire or you're really close. Your brain goes, liar, and it throws the baby out with bathwater because it can't wrap its head around it. But if you shift it, the thing that makes your brain turn off and go, not turn off, but do, instead of just throwing it out completely, if you say, what if? What if I was a billionaire? Well, I'd have a private jet and a yacht, and we would travel to this place and this place and this place in Ibiza, and this place and this place in Hawaii, and all of these different places on a regular basis. I would be a digital nomad if that's what you desire. I would be X, Y, and Z. So when you insert that what if clause, your brain doesn't immediately kick stuff out. So we're going to go from the frequency of fear up into possibility. What if your online storefront could blow up overnight? What would that look like? Well, I don't know. Your brain takes off on all the possibilities of what that might look like. What if you had one client buy your biggest coaching package? Well, that would be fun, wouldn't it? It would look like X, Y, and Z. Your brain's not kicking it out going, It's playing in the realm of possibility. And this is what's super, super important when it comes to manifestation, when it comes to growing personal brands in the online space. You have to play in possibility. What if? What if you start building this personal brand, not even having an affiliate link for anything, not even having a network marketing product for anything? What if you just are intentionally, like being super intentional with the content that you put on the internet with the intention of building a brand, a personal brand in the online space, and in a year, you stumble across the most miraculous gut, brain, health, anything. You've already built a hot audience that's ready to just be like, oh my gosh, I love Ashley's content and what she writes about, being a mom and making sourdough and all of these different pieces. And now she has this thing that has changed her brain. I want that. Boom. Instantly, you have generated income just because you have intentionally put forth the effort to build a personal brand in the online space. You don't have to know what you're going to sell today, because I also guarantee you that what you sell today, if you were selling something, is probably going to be different than what you sell in 5 years. This is the beauty of the personal brand in the online space. It's not like I have to niche into, I just sling vitamins. No, I'm building a personal brand so that if I want to sling vitamins this week, I can. And if I want to sell coaching this week, I can. And if I want to talk about affiliate marketing next week, I can. It gets to be diverse, which is why we get to have those multiple streams of income coming in when we diversify our personal brand. Whew, okay. But here's the thing. Okay, Sarah, build a personal brand. A, I don't know how. That's okay. That's why you have resonance. B, how do I sell? I hate selling. Who has ever said that? Go ahead, out yourself in the comments. Who has ever said, I hate selling? Or, I hate being sold to? Or, I'm just not good at selling? Or, I'm not a salesperson? Or, any version of that. Because I have. And yet, I sold boots all through college. I didn't get a commission on them, so it didn't really matter one way or the other if the person bought the boot or not. But I'd stand there for, an hour or two trying to convince them to buy boots. But they came into the store to buy boots. They knew they were coming in to buy boots. That was the difference. Selling on the online space is I have this amazing offer. You may not have known you were looking for it, but here it is. And so we're going to look at the three different types of ways that I have learned to sell through the years, and where I have finally arrived that feels amazing for me, feels amazing for you or anybody who's a potential client, which means that it is good and feels good for the collective whole of everybody that's hanging out on the internet. Okay, I need to wet my whistle. So in 2011, I came across a network marketing company that I actually did invest in. Up to that point, everything had the term pyramid scheme on it for me. But I was a massage therapist. The product really, really like paired well with massage therapy. And I was like, worst case scenario, I'll just use it on my clients, like whatever. And so I started using this product and I didn't really promote it, but there were some people that knew that I had it, but I didn't really promote it. And in 2014, I had our second son. And after my first was born, when I went back to work, it was hard. Like, it was just heart-wrenching. And I only went back to work for 2 days a week. And he was with grandparents. It's not even like he was at daycare. But it was just heart-wrenching. And now, in hindsight, I had postpartum depression. I had postpartum anxiety. And that was a big part of why. But I didn't know any of that then. I had no idea. And it was so heart-wrenching to leave him, go to work, and then come back. I would come back and I would just hold him against my chest. And it was literally like he was sewing my heart back together, even though, you know, he couldn't even grasp anything as an infant. Like, right? It felt like that, though. And so I had my second son in 2014, and I'm like, I don't want to do this again. It's going to hurt just as bad as before. But I didn't have the foresight. And so obviously I was going to have to go back to work at that 3-month mark. But in those first few weeks of postpartum, it was like, well, Sarah, you have this vehicle. You have this company whose product has been amazing for you for 3 years. You just have to learn how to drive this vehicle. Oh, okay. Well, let me do what everybody else is doing in the online space, because obviously it works. Which was blasting about my product every day, multiple times a day. And at that point, there wasn't stories and there wasn't reels. It was just posts. Post about it. I posted about it 6 hours ago. Maybe I could post about it again. I posted about it 3 hours ago. Maybe I could post about it again. Let me tell you, it takes a month to completely kill your hot audience doing that. I did it for about 2.5. And then I started paying attention to people who were in that company making way more money than me. They didn't post about their product. So I immediately stopped, which was wise, which was sexy. But then I moved into learning. I went ahead and jumped into start learning with some of these people that were making the amounts of money I wanted to make with this company. And I bought my first ever boot camp in the beginning of 2015. It was $60 a month. And to me at that point, that was like, whew, that's a lot. And now I'll, drop multiple thousands on something for, a month without batting an eye, because I know that I am my biggest return on investment. Go ahead and drop I am my biggest ROI in the comments for me, if you know that. And so now it's like no big deal. But what I did in the beginning is who we're going to call Clingy Janie. And she blasted the internet with what she had to offer. And it wasn't cute. So then I do a complete 180 and I go start learning from these other people who don't post on the internet at all. There was a lot of sales psychology that I learned. That's the first place I was exposed to colors and learning how to speak to what each color, like red, yellow, green, and blue, I didn't even know gems at that point, what each color wanted or was valuable to each color. That's where I started learning those pieces. Now that I understand human design, to an extent, I am not an expert by any stretch, but now as I'm learning human design, I'll put it that way, I actually see the colors as a classification of people by trauma response. I actually don't see it as a personality profiling. I see it as, oh, you all have this same trauma response here. Oh, you all have had this same trauma here, which is not healthy either. I like human design a whole lot better because of the depth of accuracy that it goes into, but that's a different story. And so I start learning about color types. I start learning about the psychology of sales. I actually had this video pop up in Memories yesterday. I had gone live in my kitchen and walking around my house. I had a baby on my back and I had 2 of them running around, 2018, to share this tip that I used with my then 4-year-old because it was the psychology of selling. And now I had never until 2018 been taught that even as just a stay-at-home mom, you're selling every day. You're selling the kid on the broccoli. You're selling the kid on putting on their shoes. You're selling the kid on getting in the vehicle. You're selling the kid on getting out of the vehicle. You're selling the kid on using the toilet instead of nefarious other things. And so you're constantly selling, but I had never had it presented to me like that before. And so some of that psychology of sales from 2015 came back, and I started using it with one of those children. And so yesterday in Memories, I had this video come back where I was like, hey, hot tip from a mom, maybe it'll help you too. It's yes. If you can get someone to start saying yes, they don't stop. And so at that point with the 4-year-old, it was, hey buddy, do you like your toys? Yes. Did you have fun playing with your toys today? Yes. Would you like to play with your toys again tomorrow? Yes. Okay, then I need you to go pick them up. Will you go pick them up for me, please? Yes. And then they feel bamboozled because mom just got them to agree to something they would never have agreed to before. And so in a way, it is definitely a manipulation tool, which is unfortunate. There's a time and place for it, especially with small humans. But with big humans, it just feels yucky again. And so I learned this way of selling, and I tried it for a while. A lot of it had to do with getting on like a 3-way phone call with me and an expert in the industry, and then them trying to sell the person. It never worked. It never worked. And so this is 2015. And so I keep going with, a post here and a post there and talking to my network and hoping that people will buy and putting courses out there like, hey, I'm going to teach this thing. Would you come? Some people did, some people didn't. I created a pretty fantastic foundation, honestly, for being depressed that entire time. Fun stuff. And then I kind of just backed off because it felt like I had talked to everybody that was available to talk to multiple times, and I'd done it in as honorable a way as I knew how to do, but I'd already talked to them, and they'd either bought or they'd said no, and I'd already talked to them again, and I'd already talked to them again, and I'd already talked to them again. And so in 2018, a giant in the personal development industry was offering a very niched specific course for my network marketing company. I was like, oh, this is cool. And so I jumped into this, and it was like $700 for 6 weeks, which again was like, a stretch, but I'll go do that. What did she have us do? She had us make a list. You ever made a list? Make a list of every person you've ever met in your life, and now you're going to call them. It's 2018, and she's telling me to call my list. I have 3 little kids running around. You want me to make 50 phone calls a day? What? I think I managed 2 a day for a week or 2 of that course. It was only 6 weeks long. And out of those maybe 2 a day, 2 people bought. And out of those 2 people, one of them still makes like an annual order, which is cool. I mean, like, I'm not mad about the money, but it wasn't what I needed. It wasn't what I needed in order to sell and actually build a business. It was not feasible for me to try and fit 50 phone calls a day in. And once I got on the phone, it was like, hi, so I haven't talked to you in 15 years, but do you use toxic chemicals in your house? Do you know that that could cause skin cancer? Do you want a solution? I have one. I know I haven't talked to you in 15 years, but thought you'd like one. Oh my gosh. It was awful. It was so horrible. And so I've learned all of these different ways to sell, and none in this mountain of ways of how to sell feels good. And so I just kind of quit. I was like, yeah, I got this awesome product. It does amazing things for me. I'll post my testimony every once in a while, but that's all I'm going to do, because if this is how people build businesses, I don't know how people build businesses, because there's this thing in my gut that just every time I try and do it this way, and it doesn't work. And so I just kind of backed off. And this is where Silent Sammy comes in. Shh, don't talk about it, because you don't want to hurt anybody. You don't want to offend anybody. You don't want to run anybody off. And so, yeah, I have this amazing product, but I'm not going to talk about it. Oh, you have seasonal depression. Not going to talk about it. Oh, you have a child with major bee stings. Not going to talk about it. Oh, your gut. Not going to talk about it. And I went into this Silent Sammy space because nothing that I had learned felt good. And the problem with Silent Sammy is she's not selling anything. Even if she has the most transformative thing, she would have been the best kept secret of the internet. It wouldn't matter if she was selling coaching or personal development or amazing, gut brain health products or shampoo or makeup, or it wouldn't matter because she wasn't talking about it. Silent Sammy doesn't want to be the best kept secret of the internet. That's not a good place to be either, especially when we're building a personal brand in the online space so that you have the continued freedom in the silent depression that we're in, or in 2025 when we don't know if it's going to be worse or better. Silent Sammy doesn't make sales. She doesn't bring an income in. She doesn't supplement her family's income. She doesn't offset the grocery bill or the mortgage. And she feels it. And so enter 2020. I had 6 different coaches in 2020. Let me see just how far ahead of my notes I am, because I set them down quite some time ago. A long ways ahead of my notes. That's okay. I knew what I had to say, which is a beautiful thing. Okay. So, enter 2020. I had 6 different coaches in 2020. And that was from like July to the end of the year. So I had 6 different coaches in 6 months. Not because I was coach hopping, but because I had a business coach. And I had a mindset coach simultaneously. And I had a writing coach simultaneously. And I had a emotional freedom technique coach simultaneously. And I had a mom coach simultaneously. And I don't even remember what else I had. But I had them simultaneously. It wasn't like, oh, I didn't like what that person said. They offended me and I moved on to somebody else. That, I don't want you to get that through your head. No, I was actively wanting to learn all these things because I'd had a baby in the spring of 2020 and this is pre-inflation. My husband's check was not stretching for 6 of us very easily. And so when I invested in the writing coach at $29 a month, or the writing program, I guess is what it was, that was a stretch that had to come out of the grocery budget. And then when I wanted to take a course on profitability, I pulled that out of an emergency fund. It was $88, and I didn't tell my husband because I was like, I'll just do a massage if it becomes a problem, and I'll put it back in. I'll ask my in-laws to watch kids or something, and I'll go do a massage. I'll figure it out. And so, like, things were tight in 2020, and that was pre-inflation completely. But I learned how to be sexy Sarah. This is our third and final lady today. Sexy Sarah. The woman who knows how to sell. She's no longer Silent Sammy. She's actually showing up and selling in the online space. She's also not Clingy Janie, who's blasting the internet and ruining her hot audience. She has found this balance. One side is Clingy Janie of a pendulum, and the other side is Silent Sammy. And it doesn't work when you're on either side of a pendulum. It takes something in the middle. It takes a harmonious balance between the two of them to make it work. And this was where Sexy Sarah came in. And so, like, I had done this with my husband too. Well, I didn't like how you said blah, blah, blah. All right, well, fine. You didn't like how I said blah, blah, blah. Let's see how you like living with someone who doesn't talk at all. Over here, talking with a tone he didn't appreciate. To way over here, well, I just won't talk at all. No, we gotta find somewhere in the middle. Gotta find somewhere in the middle that feels good for all parties involved. Something that's good for you, something that's good for who you're selling to, something that's good for the collective. And this is where Sexy Sarah comes in. Let's see here. So this is where I was fully embracing my feminine And what we do with the feminine, we're going to look in depth tomorrow at masculine and feminine energetics, because they're also on two sides of a pendulum. You got feminine energetics over here, which would be like Silent Sammy, and you've got masculine energetics over here, which would be like Clingy Janie. And so we're going to look at both sides of that. But when it comes to being a feminine saleswoman, it's someone who has connection with her audience. So that means she's posting about things that are not necessarily always her product. She is sharing her product, maybe in specific locations, more so than other locations. So you'll probably always find something in my stories that you could buy, but you also find some connection in my stories about me and my life. I shared about, Yom Teruah over the weekend, and I had a picture of my family with shofars. And when we leave on vacation in a week, you'll see a lot of vacation stuff in my stories, but you'll also have options to buy something in my stories too. If you scroll through my newsfeed, you'll have amazing posts, heartwarming posts that just touch you deeply. At least they touch me deeply, and so I hope that they touch you deeply. They transform something inside of you. They make you think about something, and you'll also have an option to buy something with me too. But it's not all buy stuff, and it's not all connection stuff. It's somewhere in the middle. You will not find me unless I'm following up on coaching dollars, or you're coming to the end of a major program with me. You will not find me in Messenger going, hey, you want to buy my thing? You want to buy my thing? You want to buy my thing? Like, if you're coming to the end of your year in resonance, I'm going to let you know that there's an alumni option, which is freaking incredible. But I'm not going to be in there going, hey, you want to buy my thing? You want to buy my thing? Dynamic Boost starts in 2 weeks. Would you like to be there? No, I'm going to trust that you'll see it in my stories, and you'll see it enough, and if it calls to you, you'll buy it. The link's right there. You don't even have to ask me for it if you're reading it in my stories. The link is right there. I'm going to show up inside of this space, FemPower, and I'm going to share stories. I shared one earlier, and I'll share it here again in a few minutes, but about Dynamic Boost and why it's so incredible and why I created it. And hey, if you'd like the link, go ahead and send me a message, or check my stories, or look at my highlights on Instagram. You don't even have to ask me for the link if you don't want to. Here it is. It's available for you to take if you want it, or leave if you don't want it. This is feminine, sexy sales. It's connection, and it's selling, and it's no big deal if you don't want it. It's totally okay, but I'm here. I'm solid, and when you're ready, I'll still be here, and I'll still be solid. This is the sexy way to sell on the internet. And so, like I said, tomorrow we're going to look at that masculine piece and that feminine piece and really find that balance in between. And I kind of told you just now, but we're going to deep dive into that. And then on Thursday, we're looking at the cyclical piece of selling on the internet, because as a woman, bleeding or not, you have a cycle. If you've ever had a uterus, if you're selling completely out of alignment with your biology, you're going to fight yourself the entire time, and that's not fun. I did that. You'll hear about that. That story is coming also. So I show you how to sell with your cycle so that all of your biology, all of your cellular makeup can get behind you and be like, yes. And it magnifies in the most beautiful way what it is that you're offering to your audience. And it's so incredible, and it feels good for you, and it feels good for them, which means it feels good for the collective, which is always what we want. And so that actually concludes our, homework. You have some homework here. So I want you to set a timer for 10 minutes, and I want you to reflect on the different ways either you have sold, if you have sold anything in your life, or the ways you've been sold to. Because if you're on the internet, you've probably been sold something, because it works. I want you to reflect on both of those as the seller and or as the buyer, and which times felt really good and which times did you feel like you needed to go take a shower. Just get the ick off. Just reflect on that for 10 minutes. You can journal through it. You can just think about it. You can write a post about it. You can write a post and invite people to sexy selling, if you wanted to. But that's your homework. You can be completely quiet about it. It can be your own rumination. You can talk about it with a spouse. What ways have you been sold to? Like, if you're needing a connection point on your living room date tonight, that could be something you talk about. But that is your homework. And we are complete with today's module 2. But I am going to take a few minutes and just tell you ways that you can deepen your proximity to me, into my world. Feel free to go if you would like, or you can hang out because I have an awesome story for you about Dynamic Boost. So Dynamic Boost actually came about as a result of having some conversations with a private client of mine. And so she has been actively doing some of the activations that we're going to do inside of Dynamic Boost over the last couple of weeks. And she messaged me this morning on Marco, so she has Marco access. And she's like, oh my gosh, Sarah, my period showed up 4 days early. We'll come back to that in a minute. So I'm on day 1 of bleeding today, and I feel so good. I've never felt this good on day 1 of bleeding before. And it's because of the energetic upgrades that she's actively been doing. She's actively been raising her frequency on the energetic scale consistently and intentionally over the last couple of weeks. Now, here's the thing. She said her period showed up 4 days early. Now, I know her, and I know what she's like in her luteal phase. The fact that she didn't notice how far into her luteal phase that she was the last few days, and that her period basically snuck up on her without her pegging, yesterday or the day before, going, wow, I wonder if I'm actually on day 24 or if I'm actually on day 27, because, whew, that didn't even register. She has raised her frequency so much on the energetic scale that she was surprised that her period showed up early. So she didn't notice where she was at in her luteal phase, energetically speaking, and that she feels freaking amazing, the best she's ever felt, in her words, on day 1 of her bleed. How awesome is that? And so Dynamic Boost is, you're going to get 1 activation per day for 30 days. We're going to start October 1st. You're going to have 1 activation per day for 30 days where, it'll take you 5 minutes. If you want it to take a little bit longer, it can take a little bit longer. There's one of them, it's set a timer for 20 minutes, and if you can only do 5 minutes, then set the timer for 5 minutes and go do whatever the thing is. But so I've actively got all of these activations lined up for you. I have a third of them done. Another third will be done tomorrow for sure, if not later tonight. And I'm so excited for Dynamic Boost because so many people are going to actively climb the energetic scale. It takes you 3 weeks to shift your average, or your energetic set point is what they call it, from here to a different, little bit higher one. And so 30 days absolutely covers a 21-day piece. And hopefully, for the most part, it's going to cover, all 4 phases of a woman's cycle too. So it did go up to $111 last night, but it's going to be totally worth it. I'm so excited. Ah! So go ahead and either get the link from my stories or my highlights if you would like Dynamic Boost, or you can just ask me for it in the comments. I would be happy to get you the link if that's easier for you. You could message me for it, anything works. Just, ask me for the link and I will get you the link for Dynamic Boost. Resonance, it's included, and I have 2 of you. That were in all the micro courses for 2023. That was a Black Friday sale last year. A couple people bought all the micro courses for 2023. And so it will be included for you all as well. So that's exciting. And let's see here. Next, I do want to talk to you about resonance again. So resonance is my vault. And I just love resonance. If you've been in resonance, or if you're currently in resonance, go ahead and say anything about it in the comments. Ashley mentioned the VIP day last month where she had first heard about the silent depression from me. And that VIP day is the resonance VIP day. So resonance includes a VIP day every single month. It is this Thursday. So if you jumped into resonance today or tomorrow, you would be included in that VIP day on Thursday. We have amazing conversations, don't we, Ashley? So we talked about the silent depression last month. We talked about needing a personal brand by 2025 last month. It was all precursors to this course. We talk about scripting with our kids. We talk about scripting with clients. We talk about scripting with parents or spouses. We talk about personal brand growth. We talk about branding. We talk about our periods. We talk about, our cycle syncing, our copywriting. We talk about everything inside that VIP day. It's so good. Oh, it's so rich. I love it. And the thing about it is that you may come in and you may not have a question at all, but somebody else will ask something and you're like, wow, I really benefited from that. Somebody else will ask something, you're like, wow, I really benefited from that, and it spurred a question that I have, and then they get to benefit from your question. Like, it's the most beautiful give and take mastermind environment ever. It's amazing. So there's that. And then let's see here. You get every live program that I run for the next 12 months. So if you jumped into Resonance, you would automatically be in Dynamic Boost. Like, automatically, you're in Dynamic Boost. You would automatically be in Femme Physique. And if you've already bought Femme Physique, we would credit that to your first month inside of Resonance, just so you know. Let's see. Other things that are coming would be Faye Gaze. So Faye Gaze, where is it on here? The Site of Legacy. It's in pre-sale now for $333. I haven't even talked about it other than the first module of Sexy Selling. But it's going to be so good. We're looking at nearsightedness. We're looking at farsightedness. We're looking at 20/20 vision. Like, oh, I'm so excited about it. Figuratively speaking, obviously, I'm not an optometrist. Anyway. So that is included in Resonance, or you can buy it separately for $333 in pre-sale right now. We have a branding program that's coming very, very soon. I don't know exactly how soon, but it's coming. And so we're going to look at graphics specifically, the elements of a memorable graphic. But your brand is not just graphics. So we're looking at graphics, but we're also looking at branding yourself in the online space. And that's kind of an abstract concept, but I'm super excited to talk about it. And if there's enough demand, we'll even talk about trailers, but I'm not entirely sure about that yet. Let's see here. So that's included in Resonance because it would be a live program coming in the next 12 months. That would be included. Anything live that I run in the next 12 months. The Sacred Critic is coming in the next 12 months, which is super integral to life. It really is. I'm in a sisterhood, a mastermind sisterhood with 7 other women. And last week, somebody said something that was meant as a joke towards someone else, and the other party took offense to it. Like, she had this internal baby, little tiny girl, toddler, show up, and she was able to actually come and say it in that space, and they were able to work through it, and we all got to witness all of this. And this is all pieces of the Sacred Critic, because we have stuff that you don't know if something like the term pins and needles is going to set someone else off. You have no way of knowing that, and we can't walk around on eggshells. But knowing how to love yourself when you get set off by something as simple as a statement like pins and needles, you know how to love yourself through that. Or how to have a conversation that actually brings healing instead of you said, she said, meh, meh, meh. This is the things that we look at inside of the Sacred Critic. And it's so good. It's actually in pre-sale for $777, or like I said, it's included in Resonance. So Resonance is the VIP day, the every live program for a year, and then there's the Vault. So currently right now, you could immediately jump into Staged. If you wanted to start building a personal brand, you're going to learn about the different stages that are already set up for you and how to actively start using them as the stage for your personal brand in the online space. You can go through Money Pot, learn how to start getting organic funnels popping for you so that you can have income start coming in on a regular basis through these organic funnels. I believe it's in Money Pot. I actually break down exactly how to run a launch with your cycle, but it's only like, 30 minutes in a single module. There's an entire program coming later this year or next year. It might be Q1 on launching live launches with your 4 phases of your cycle. That would also be included in Resonance, or you can buy it separate, but it's always amazing to have it included in Resonance. So Staged is in there already. Money Pot's in there already. You would have access to, last year's period portal. You'd have time flow at your fingertips already. You'd have food and flow at your fingertips already. If learning how to nourish your body by cycle phase so that you can love your hormones and start to release some of that weight as your thyroid heals and as your adrenals heal, it's already a program that's inside of Resonance, ready and available for you. Resonance is just, it's amazing. So it is $999 per month. It is a 12-month commitment just because there is that much in there for you to go through. And I just don't feel like it would be a service to you to have it be any shorter than that. So it's 12-month commitment. You can do $9.99 per month, or you can do $10K paid in full. You know, pop it on a business credit card, call it an expense. It's a write-off, and then you have a year to pay it off or something like that. However your, you know, interest rates and whatnot work for yourself. But until the first 3 slots are filled, or until this program comes down 1 week from today on the 26th, the first 3 people that come into Resonance will actually be able to lock in their price at $888 per month, or again, that $10K paid in full if you so desire. So that's a fun, juicy incentive. If you've been thinking about Resonance, go ahead and come on in. And, you know, if you need to work out financing or whatever, but you want to claim that spot, just jump in Messenger and let me know. We'll get you, you know, a deposit of some kind put down. And then if you need to figure out finances over the next 10 days or something, that's totally doable. I can work with you. And then there's Resonance Gold. And this is available for current Resonance members too. If you wanted to upgrade to Resonance Gold, you absolutely can do that. You get the VIP day, you get the vault, you get every live program for the 12 months that you're inside. But the gold aspect is that you also get a one-on-one call with me every single month. And so, you know, if there's something that's come up in your Sacred Critic phase and you're just like, oh, I don't want to bring it to the VIP day. I want to talk to you, just you and me. Let's work through this. We can do that. If you have, you know, intellectual property that you don't want to bring to the VIP day and you want to work through it just you and me, we can do that. If you want just a solid strategy session for 60 minutes where we dig in deep, we can do that inside of that gold one-on-one call with Resonance. Normally, Resonance Gold is $1,444 per month for that 12-month time frame, or $14,444 paid in full. Again, though, this is available for the first 3 ladies that jump into Resonance Gold, or until it closes on the 26th, a week from today. You can lock in that Resonance Gold price at $1,222 per month, or $12,222, if you so desire. Like, I can't even tell you, I have invested $13,000 in a 3-month mastermind. We're talking, you know, 10K or 12K for a year here. That 3 months in a mastermind completely changed so much for myself. And since then I've invested 18,000, 10,000, like here and there. But that first 13,000, like I'll never forget it. I won't forget the other ones either, but it was such a leap of faith. And because I am a sure thing, and I know that, because I had given myself the track record of I'm a sure thing, and because I had invested the money, I made sure I showed up in the spaces. It elevated everything that I did. It elevated my branding. It elevated my show up. It elevated my deliveries. Like, everything got better with that investment. And it may have anyway, like I have no way of knowing. But because of the investment and the material that became at my fingertips that I just chewed through like I'd been a starving human for a long time, and I needed this and I need this and I then ate this and I ate that and I ate this and I ate that, like, it completely changed my family's legacy. It wasn't just for that year or those 3 months. It has completely changed my family's legacy. And so if you look at it from that aspect of, gee, what's $12,000 in the grand scheme of your family's legacy? It's so different. It's such an easy yes. So if you've considered it at all, like, move some stuff around, make some things happen, because Resonance is just, it's amazing. And I saw that Ashley had said Resonance has been so instrumental in my growth and emotional healing this year. Yes, we have amazing combos on the VIP days. Yes. I love that she said the emotional healing part this year, because that's what I keep getting back. Like, yeah, we teach in cycles, but we have emotions that go in those cycles, and we get to heal through them at every phase. And it's so incredible. I had a testimony come back yesterday from someone who completed her space in Resonance over the summer, and she sent me a testimony yesterday, and she said the energetic pieces, so the things like what we talk about in Energetic Escort, which would be in the Resonance Vault, you'd have instant access to it, or in Dynamic Boost, which is included in Resonance, she's like, that was the biggest piece. She's like, I needed all of these energetic pieces. I needed to understand energetically where my husband was coming from. I needed to understand the energetics of masculine and feminine and how they work together and how they can oppose each other sometimes. I needed to understand when he was in his feminine and how I could show up, and when I was in my feminine and how he could show up, and all of these different aspects, but it was all energetic. She's like, that was what I needed. And all of this can happen on the VIP day. You have instant access to energetic escort that you can go through. If I run it again next year, obviously you would be in it. You'd have instant access to dynamic boosts. Like, it's just that good. So let me know. Go ahead and jump in Messenger if you want links for any of these pieces. I would love it. Please share the I'm in graphic. Bring in as many people to this as we can, because everybody needs this. Seriously, everybody needs this shift, especially in these times that we're in right now. So I will see you tomorrow at, I think it's 3 p.m. Eastern. Let me just double check. Eastern, and with module 3. So y'all have a beautiful evening, and I will talk to you later. Bye.